Good morning, General Psych students. My name is Missy Mathis, and I'm going to be your instructor for this course this summer. I wanted to take just a minute to go over the syllabus with you to make sure that everything is clear in terms of what the expectations of the course are. And I'm going to start on page 1 just to highlight for you briefly. My online office hour is here, so you can get me on email or Skype pretty quickly during 11:30 and 12:30 on Wednesdays. And if you need to meet face-to-face, I do that by appointment only during the summer. So just send me an email if you need to meet face-to-face for some reason. I also want to highlight for you the required text. Hopefully you already have it. If not, you need to get it today. Lots of reading, lots of work to do in the short time that we have together, so there's really no time to delay. You also need to note here that the MyPsychLab access code is required. You're going to have a series of homework assignments in the lab that you need to do outside of Blackboard. So throughout the course, you're going to be doing the majority of your work in Blackboard, but there are a series of assignments that you're going to do in MyPsychLab Plus. So just note that you're going to have to use the Blackboard website and the MyLab Plus website to get your work done. The course description and course objectives, I'll let you read through those. They just sort of show you what the course is about, what to expect this summer. The grading scale is the standard CFCC grading scale. I do want you to notice the withdrawal date is July 6th. So you can withdraw for any reason up to that point. After July 6th, you cannot withdraw for pretty much any reason. And the withdrawal procedure is just to go online. You can go to the My CFCC portal, and there's a link there for electronic withdrawal. You don't have to see me in person to do that. The other thing I want to note for you is very quickly you need to get into the course and do this course confirmation. It's in the link in Blackboard called Getting Started, and these assignments are assignments that will verify your attendance in the class. Federal laws require us to do that, and in a typical classroom I just mark your physical attendance, but since this is an online class we have to create some different strategies, and so go ahead and get in there and do those today just so that we can verify your enrollment. There is a date, which is Friday the 27th. If you don't get those done by that date, then you're going to be unenrolled in the course. So just make sure you get those done as soon as possible. They're quick, they're easy. They'll probably take you about 10 minutes to do those. Having said that, those count 5% of your grade, the getting started assignments. So it includes an etiquette agreement, which is just a document for you to read and sign electronically that says you understand the rules of online engagement. And then there's an introductory forum, a discussion board. Now I will tell you the introductory discussion board is more than just here's who I am. I want you to talk a little bit about who you are, but then I also want you to get into thinking about psychology, and to do that I want you to give us a book or a movie that you would recommend, and then talk a little bit about the psychology in that particular book or movie. It doesn't have to be the whole book or the whole movie is psychologically based, but there's bound to be a part or a piece of it that is. And I want you to talk about whether you think the psychology was accurately portrayed or not, and why you think that that's the case. So a little bit of getting into the material in that getting started discussion board, but not a difficult task, quick and easy, and 5% of your grade. Once you get through that, you're going to have these other 4 things to do in every module. So the course is divided into 4 modules, and in each module you're going to have some assignments, a worksheet for each module that allows you to practice applying some of the concepts that you've learned to real life scenarios. Those assignments count 10% of your total grade. I promised you that you were going to have some MyPsychLab activities. Those count 20% of your grade. Basically what you need to do is go into the lab And the way that you do that is you go in through the My CFCC portal under the external course sites link. You'll see My Labs Plus, and you log in with your CFCC username, so your initials, your last name, and whatever those random digits are that they gave you. Mine would be MW Mathis 39. Yours is something similar. And then your password is welcome1. Kind of all scrunched together. It's the numeral 1. You don't spell out the number 1. And then just make sure that you use a capital W. And once you get into the MyLab, you're going to have an opportunity to change your password. And if you've used MyLabs before, like My Psych Lab or My Social Lab or My Math Lab, you may already have a different login. And if you have one, you use whatever that is. But if you're just getting started in MyLabs, you're going to have the default password, which is welcome1. And in the lab, for every chapter that we do, you're going to need to complete the study plan, which takes you through a pretest, some assignments based on your pretest scores, and your post-test. None of those count towards your grade. Those are what I consider to be practice assignments to help you do well on the chapter exam. So for each chapter we cover in the text, and we're not covering all of them, so be aware of that. But for each chapter that we cover, only the chapter exam counts towards your course grade. So the pretest and the post-test and all the other stuff is really to help you prepare for the chapter exam, because you only get one shot at taking that exam, and that's the score that counts. Now, there have been some technical and other difficulties with the MyLab Plus program. So the 2 lowest grades from that program will be dropped, just to account for any technical difficulties, because there have been some situations in the past. So just be aware of that. The 2 lowest of those will get dropped. The discussion forums, you're going to have one for each module. You're going to be put into groups of 6 or 7 people. And for each module, you're going to be given a topic from one of the chapters within that module to discuss in your small group. This is an opportunity to allow you a chance to discuss with your classmates some psychology concepts the way that you might in a face-to-face class. There's a rubric for these discussion forums to help you earn the most points that you can. But basically, you're going to be graded on how many posts you do in the course of the week, the number of days that you post. So I'm looking for you to start posting early in the week and post all week long. Don't just wait till the end and post a bunch of stuff on the last day. That's not going to earn you a lot of points. I'm looking for the quality of your posts. You need to be working on the question that you've been asked. So chit-chatty posts, how are you doing posts, let's go to a party post, or simple things like I agree, great job, good point. None of that stuff counts. So make sure that your posts are addressing the question that you're supposed to be addressing, and at least 2 of them should be 100 words in length. And then the last characteristic that you're going to be judged on is whether you included outside resources. So whatever it is that you're discussing that week, you should go out to the web and find some resources that support your discussion, enhance your discussion. And the trick here, and this is where a lot of points are lost, is you have to cite those sources in correct APA style. And in the Blackboard site, I've provided you with a link to sort of learn how to do that if you have not already done it. And then the website has to be hyperlinked within Blackboard so that your group members can just click on a link to go to your site to look at whatever source you've included. So all of that information is in the rubric, so you can read over that again. And then lastly, you're going to have a module exam for each unit. So modules include 2 or 3 chapters. These module exams will cover all of those chapters together. It is timed, so you need to be prepared. You need to study the way that you would for a face-to-face exam, because you're not going to have time to look up all the answers to the questions. You'll just run out of time and end up doing poorly. So when you're reading your chapters, you should read them carefully. You should take notes. You should study those notes throughout the module so that when you get to these module exams, you're going to be able to do well. The module exams count 40% of your grade. The discussion forums count 25%, my lab is 20%, other assignments 10, and those couple of easy getting started assignments count 5. So of all these things that you're doing, the only thing that's not in Blackboard is the MyLab Plus assignments. The other assignments, the getting started assignments, discussion forums, and module exams, those are all in Blackboard for you. There is an optional final exam, so if you miss one of the module exams because you just lose track of time, or if you do a module exam but you do really poorly on it for some reason, there is an optional cumulative final exam that you can choose to take, and if you do, it will replace your lowest module exam score if you do well. The final exam can't hurt you. If you do it and do it poorly, it'll just get dropped. So not a big deal. But if you want to try to bump your grade up a little bit, the optional final is the way to do that. Please note that all assignments count towards your final grade in the course. So keep up with the due dates and due times. There's no makeup for missed assignments. I don't take anything late. To try to help you guys with that, one of the things that I want you to note is that everything in my course is due on a Friday, and everything is due at noon on that Friday. And I use the word noon everywhere I've got a due date because I want you not to confuse it with midnight. A lot of people have midnight due dates, but mine is actually due at noon, so that I can be awake and available if you have questions leading up to those due dates. And I don't take anything late, so make sure that you print out your calendar and refer to it regularly because there's lots of things due every week. Okay. These are the chapters that we're going to be covering in each module, so you kind of know what to be reading. Make sure you pay attention to that because we're skipping a bunch of chapters in the interest of time, so you don't want to read and take notes on chapters that you aren't going to be held responsible for. Communication, primarily we're going to be communicating through email or through Skype if that's something that you guys are doing. My Skype username is Missy, MYSSIE.Mathis, MATHIS. So you can find me on Skype often, but for sure during the online office hour. If you need any accommodations based on disability, please let me know that. You can scan and email your accommodations form to me, and then we can talk via Skype about what you need accommodations for. Academic honesty is something you guys need to pay attention to. There's no plagiarism allowed. This includes probably for you guys the most relevant thing here because you're not doing any papers for me, but in those discussion forums, you should be using your own words. You shouldn't copy and paste anything from a website and stick it in there and then use it to further your discussion. If you're reading those outside sources, as I've asked you to do, you need to paraphrase what was said and then provide documentation. Tobacco use doesn't really apply to us. Your student accounts, obviously you're going to be using your MyCFCC account to access Blackboard, to access your email, and to access that MyCFCC, that MyLab Plus link. So use those efficiently. And then just note the contingency plans in case there's any sort of outages. We need to keep moving forward. So, have your syllabus printed out, have your schedule printed out. A lot of the work that you're doing, you do offline, and then you come online to present that work to me. So you can do a lot of work even when things are down. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. Okay, that's the end of the syllabus, so I'm going to sign off for now. But I will say that if you have any questions, you are certainly welcome to email me or find me on Skype if I'm available. And for sure, look for me on Skype during that online office hour moment in case you have any questions about the syllabus or the material in your textbook. Good luck. Have a great course, and I will see you online.